Greetings, we are from Group 5 and we are here to present the introduction to phonology. Let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Najla Rachmani with the student number 1220112330955.
And my name is Andita Hana Amirah with student number 1220112333097.
My name is Maheswari Anindya Putri with student number 1220112333099.
And my name is Gisela karita with student number 1220112333100. The first one is definition of phonology. The term phonology is used in two ways, as the mental representation of linguistic knowledge and as one study of linguistic branches. The first one, as the mental representation of linguistic knowledge, phonology refers to phonological knowledge in the mental grammar of the speaker of the human language. It includes speaker's knowledge about the speech sounds and the sound patterns or sound systems of the speaker's language. The second one, as a linguistic study. Phonology refers to the study of the speech pattern or the study of speech sound as a system in a human language. So, phonology uses the study of phonetics as the raw materials in phonological analysis. In this way, phonetics provides the means for describing the speech sounds in human language, particularly acoustically and perceptually. Next. Second one is phonological knowledge. Phonological knowledge reveals that the speakers know set of speech sounds in their language. Knowledge of phonology also permits speakers to produce all the phonetically different sounds of language. They can produce sounds that form meaningful utterances. They can pronounce all the speech sounds in different contexts. They can also identify the sounds that contrast in that language and even recognize a foreign accent. To know the possible speech sound combination in the language is also enabled for the native speakers because of their phonological knowledge. Next.
Next one is phonemic analysis, the introduction. So when we speak, we produce a continuous stream of speech sound in studying speech. In studying speech, we divide the stream into small pieces that we call segments or phones or sounds. Consider these following sounds: key, skin, sick, cat, Scott, and Mike. In each number, notice the first sound in the first column, the second sound in the second column, and the last sounds in the last column. They are the k sound. The sounds are represent phonetically different speech sounds. The first sounds in the first column are likely to be aspirated by this symbol, and the second sounds in the second column are likely to be unaspirated, like this symbol, and the third sounds in the third column are likely to be unreleased, like this symbol. Those differences are not significant in English, but in linguistics, a difference between sounds is said to be significant if we substitute one sound for the other. So the meaning of the words will change. For the native speaker of English, aspiration by itself never changed the meaning. In their mental construct, they class these three K sound together. It is an abstract unit or the underlying phonological unit of the sound K, namely the phoneme K, that is basically represented by this three symbol. Next.
The next one is two levels of representation of speech sounds. Speech sounds can be represented at two levels, namely at the phonetic level and the phonological level. For example, consider the p sound in pill and spill. Phonetically, at the level of pronunciation, these two sounds are different. The p sound in pill, accompanied by a slight puff of air, that is an aspiration. Meanwhile, the p sound in spill isn't accompanied by an aspiration. Then the two plus sound are distinct phonetic segments and are normally written in a special phonetic alphabet with square brackets. And the two plus sound aspiration and non-aspirations or some sort of sameness of those two sounds holds in English, but it is not universal and may be not present in other languages. For example, in Thai, aspiration and non-aspiration result in different phonemes, and in Indonesian, is absent. At the more abstract phonological level, however, these two plus sounds are said to be manifestations of the same underlying phonological segment or phoneme. In other words, the English speakers intuitively treat both sound as variations or allophones of the same phonological category, that is, of the phoneme ph. Next. How can we distinguish phonetic segments from phonological segments? P and P phonetics segments points to any systematic difference in pronunciations. It is different in pronunciation but the same in meaning. Meanwhile, phonological segments points to those that make a difference to meaning. For example, P and K, phonological different in pronunciations and in meaning. Phonetic differences that change the meaning are often called distinctive. What is distinctive in one language may not be distinctive in another. Next.
So what is a phoneme? So a phoneme, by definition, is a contrastive unit of language. They can distinguish words, and they represent difference in meaning, but they cannot pronounce and do not have meaning. And an allophone is a predictable variant of a phoneme. A phoneme is a phonological segment that is also written in a phonetic alphabet symbol within two slashes. If a sound difference gives rise to a meaning difference in at least one pair of words in a language, then the sound difference is phonemic in that language. For instance, in English, in a pair of words dry and try, the sound d and the are different sounds which are phonemic and have different meaning. And in Indonesian, the word suka and duka, the sound as and the are different sounds because they result in different meaning. So there are two different phonemes in Indonesian. Although phonemes distinguish word meaning, they do not themselves have meaning. Phoneme, while having no linguistic meaning, bear relevant phonological information. Next.
So one is how to determine phonemes. The method for establishing the phoneme of a language follows from their contrastive function, which is to find out whether two phones are allophones of the same phoneme or not. So how to do that? We determine phonemes by means of commutation test, which is finding minimal pairs. Minimal pairs are pairs of words that differ in one sound only, and which are different lexical items or distinct items of vocabulary, regardless of their meanings. For instance, the minimal pair of bed and pet proves the phonemic status of the initial consonants, which are p and p. And the second one is the minimal pair of bed and bit, proves the phonemic status of the vowels, which are e and e. Next. And then, how do phonemes relate to the phones or sounds of a phonetic level? Just as I explained it before, that the phonetic level specifies all the features that are needed in the pronunciation of the sounds. And here, phonemes are representations of sets of sounds that are phonetically similar and whose differences can be explained. It is pronounceable or the concrete realization of a phoneme. Allophones of the same phonemes, by definition, are phonetically similar sounds that do not contrast with each other. It means that allophones are not contrastive variants of phonemes, because if an allophone is replaced by another allophone of the same phoneme, it doesn't result in a different word. It will be just a slightly odd sounding one. Allevants of a phoneme are conditioned by the phonetic environment, so allevants are predictable. For example, the aspirated p sound is predicted to occur in a syllable initial before a stressed vowel, just like p sound in the word pen. And the second one is an aspirated p is predictable by all other environments. Their distribution complete one another. This is called complementary distribution, a distribution where one occurs and the other doesn't. Allophones occasionally are in free variation. Free variation is a condition when phonetically different sounds may occur in the same environment without changing meaning. For example, the T sound at the end of the word that might be pronounced with an aspirated t, and it pronounced as that, and then with a glottal stop, and it's pronounced as that, or an unreleased sound that is pronounced as that. These various pronunciations make no different meaning because they involve the same lexical item. Next.
The next one is phonemic transcription and information. Phonemic transcription represents all and only relevant sound differences. It expresses no redundant sound differences. Dictionaries give no redundant information. Dictionary entries usually give the spelling, the meaning, and some of a phonemic transcription of a word. A phoneme may in English spelling be represented by different letters in different words. The conventional spelling of English words fails to correspond one-to-one to phonemes. Next. An adequate phonemic transcription must follow three principles. The first one, it must be phonemically systematic by having a separate symbol for every phoneme and of course by using the same symbol for each occurrence of a given phoneme. The second one used to be free of redundancies in its symbol inventory. The third one, it should be phonetically explicit as possible. For example, by using symbols in accordance with established phonetics conventions, such as Principles of the International Phonetic Association or IPA. The last two principles are in conflict. The second one may be compromised by the third one, and vice versa. Different authors use different transcriptions depending on whether they come down in favor of simplicity, that is, lack of redundancy or lack of explicitness. Next.